Welcome to Garden Plants with Jim Putnam. Let's talk Night Light Chamaecyparis. This is Night Light Chamaecyparis from the Southern Living Plant Collection. Obviously a bright gold growing conifer that has been in the ground here for about 2 years at this point. It was a 3-gallon when it was planted, probably maybe 15 by 15, something like that. And I'm guessing it's somewhere a little shy of 3 feet by 3 feet at this point. So a moderate amount of growth in that amount of time. You can see this beautiful bright gold coloration on it. In the winter time, depending on where you are, it holds the color through the winter here in Zone 7B in Raleigh, North Carolina. In colder areas, it will turn a bit of a bronzy color during the winter time. Ultimately, it's going to reach somewhere between 4 to 5 feet in height, 4 to 5 feet in width, or maintainable at those heights. Obviously, there's no off switch in these plants that make them stop growing, but certainly easily maintainable between 4 and 5 feet. In this space where I have it, I'm going to try to keep it more like 3 by 3 and talk more about the pruning a little later in the video. These are hardy in zones 5 to 8, and full sun or part shade is best. One thing on a lot of these gold conifers like this is lots of them bleach out quite a bit during the summertime. They need the sun to stay yellow, but that ends up bleaching them. This one was picked for its real amazing heat tolerance, really, for the south. And it's got a tiny bit of bleaching on it here in September after a lot of 90-degree days this summer, but very little. I mean, you can see how well it's held up. This one is literally getting sunlight from 7:30 in the morning until here I'm shooting this video around 6. It just has gone in the shade in the evening. So full sun, and it's held up amazingly well here in the south. Lots of uses for a gold pop of color like this in the landscape. This actually could be hedged, meaning several of them planted in a row and turned into a little box. I wouldn't want to do that. I like the soft texture of it. I like the look of it growing just kind of naturally. Again, I'm going to prune it in the late winter and control the size some, but I'm going to try to let it come back out and have this kind of loose form occasionally. Make a great container plant, and then just in general, like I'm using it, just one big pop of color here in the middle of some different textures and different foliage colors. This isn't a very particular plant, really, in terms of planting it or maintaining it. Really low maintenance, really low maintenance. I have a clay-based soil here in Raleigh, and I do mound everything up a bit when I plant, and so that I don't end up over-watering things. But overall, this is just not a plant that I'm going to worry about when I'm not going to stress about it going into the ground. This is a pretty drought-tolerant piece once it's established, but of course that first year you need to be keeping an eye on the watering. One thing I will say, I think one of the reasons that this conifer looks so great sitting out here in the middle of this front garden space in the south is because the roots are shaded on it. So it's doing a pretty good job of shading its own roots. And then it's been underplanted with some annuals and some other close by perennials as well. And that is keeping these roots cool. And that goes a long way to helping something that would probably be stressed in open space with the sun, you know, really heating up the soil around it if these things weren't around it. Like most conifers, this would not like to be in wet soil. And so if you think it's a wet area, especially wet in the winter times, probably not a great spot for this Night Light Chamaecyparis. If you're in zone 5, I said it's hardy in zone 5 to 8. A lot of these Chamaecyparis they can be wind burned in the winter time. So if the soil freezes around it, it can't get water up into the top of it. So if it's out in open wind, you can really end up with a lot of burn on one side of it. So I would make sure it's sheltered from direct wind in zone 5. Pruning can be done probably any time, but late winter would probably be the best time. If I pruned it right now, just thinking about it in October or November or something, I'd have to look at it all winter like that. So I just would wait till the beginning of March, shear it back, maybe about 6 to 8 inches below where I want to keep it, because that's about how much growth I'd expect on it in a season. And that's that. I'll fertilize it at the exact same time in the late winter, just once with a slow release fertilizer. I'm keeping the weeds away from it, watering it when it's abnormally dry, and keeping it well mulched. Again, I've got some things underplanting it here to keep that soil a little bit cooler around this conifer here down in the deep south. And that's it. This is Night Light Chamaecyparis from the Southern Living Plant Collection. Thanks for watching.